Okay, we'll call to order the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Oregon City Urban Renewal Commission. Call a roll, please.
Commissioner Denise McGriff.
Present.
Commissioner Doug Neely is excused. Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Lori Arinello.
Here.
And Chair Mike Mitchell.
Here. Thank you. Okay, item number 2, public comments. Do we have any public comments? Okay. A couple of people in the audience. Any public comments? Going once, going twice? No? Okay. Then we'll move on to item number 3A, which is election of chair and vice chair for 2026. Do we need an introduction to this, or we just? Nope. Okay.
Any questions? We did lay out that, one needs to be a city commissioner and one needs to be a non-city commission member.
Okay. All right, then, we'll jump right into it. We'll open up the nominations for chair of the Urban Renewal Commission.
I'd like to move that we nominate Adam Merle.
Second. Any other nominations?
Is that for chair, I assume?
That's for chair.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I may not have said it.
You did
but I
say
meant to. Okay.
No, I know you said both, because,
Okay.
we got to do both, but.
No other nominations? All right, we'll close the nominations. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori Arinello.
Aye.
And Chair Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Motion passes.
It's yours. It's immediate, right?
Yeah.
All right. You want to say this? Sure.
All right, thank you, and thank you for your leadership these last couple of years, Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So the next order of business is election of vice chair. Do we have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Lori Arinello.
Second.
I accept.
You accept? Okay. And
You don't have to accept it if you don't. Just fine. Okay, I just making sure you know.
I was just hearing the awkward pause.
Yes, there was an awkward pause.
so if there are no other nominations, please call the roll.
Commissioner Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Commissioner Doug Neely is excused. Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori Arinello.
Aye.
And Chair Adam Marl.
Aye.
I believe I called that name in a strange way, so bear with me. Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right.
We're allowed to have some strange every so often.
So moving on to item 3C, annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Mr. Zook is coming up. Do we have an introduction to this?
I'll go ahead and have Matt kind of talk about it, but I mean, I'm going to steal his thunder a little bit. The auditors did issue an unmodified or clean opinion, which means that the financial statement present fairly in all material respects the financial position and activities of the agency for the year. We did attach the audit with the findings itself, and then at the last paragraph of the staff report is a pretty high-level summary of the position of the district, some of the changes that we saw over year. And I don't know, Matt, if you want to add anything else.
I have no other statements, Your Honor. You did a nice job. I'll entertain any questions if you have any about the.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. Sorry, and I'm trying to find it now. I'm sorry. Capital assets is the property we own, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then you net out depreciation?
Yes.
Okay. So two things. Can we get a report for the commissioners of a list of that property and what we're
Yes.
carrying on the books at?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have it with me in my head, but I can
Okay.
bring that back.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then just curious, let's say hypothetically, we reach a deal on a piece of property and it's for more or less than what we're carrying on the books at. That's just a financial adjustment in that
Yeah.
year to
Yeah.
reflect what we get for it.
The financial statements would be adjusted by the book value, and the depreciation will be, wiped out, and then the proceeds of the sale would be an asset to the agency.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
We are going to move on.
Before we move on, I just
Okay.
want to thank you for the work on this. I have really appreciated the comprehensiveness of the reports that we're getting from Aldridge, and they're doing a great job. It makes it much easier when we can, understand the numbers. And so I just want to thank you for your work on that.
All right, moving on to item 3C, downtown quiet zone property donation.
Thank you. So our Public Works Director, Dana Webb, is going to come up and assist with this presentation. So as the Urban Renewal Commission is well aware, we've been working for a significant amount of time on the the quiet zone at 10th and 11th Street. We're at the stage in the process where we're obtaining necessary property to complete the project. And so why we're here tonight is that the Urban Renewal Agency owns the property at the bottom of the hill at 10th and Main, right across from Dutch Brothers. And there's a need for approximately 399 square feet of property to complete that project from the corner of the property owned by the district. So there's kind of two requests. And when you see the map, you'll see that there's a section, there's a corner section that's about 399 square feet. Then there's a larger dotted line outside that. So that's the temporary construction easement zone is the first phase. The second phase is the actual property needed for the completion of the project. Through this federal process, there is property acquisition that's spelled out on how that occurs. The property owner, in this case, the Urban Renewal Agency, does have the ability to just donate the land rather than going through the appraisal purchase price. It just, the thing gets incorporated in the project cost. So really tonight, we're here to try to answer any questions and see which of those two options that the Urban Renewal Agency would like to move down. Because this is federal funding, the state runs the project. So this property would be dedicated to the state. Upon completion of the project, it then gets dedicated back to the city. But because the state is running the project and responsible for the funds, and the property acquisition, it's kind of this two-step process until we take over our responsibilities once the project is completed. Anything you want to add that I missed?
No, and really just that permanent, that 399 square feet is just that closest corner to the railroad tracks. And really what that is going to allow the project to do is to adjust the pedestrian crossing so that we can fit the railroad crossing gate equipment in that location. So we'll be able to kind of adjust the pedestrian crossing, make it ADA accessible across the railroad tracks, and fit all of that railroad equipment in that little easement area.
All right, thank you.
And if I could just add, there was one question about on the between Main Street as you're going towards the railroad tracks off 10th, was there going to be any grade changes along there from what the existing condition is in the preliminary designs that we've seen so far, was a question I received.
On the 10th Street side, the sidewalk will be kind of similar to what it is now. On the, what I'll call the uphill, the Singer Hill side, the new sidewalk will be slightly below the surface grade of the asphalt to complete that crossing as ADA compliant. So there'll be kind of a retaining wall, and we're still kind of working through what exactly it looks like, but some kind of a vehicle fencing type of kind of barrier there. So the pedestrians will be slightly lower than the street grade.
And how far up the hill would that go?
Not too far. We tried to keep it as minimal as possible because the longer we do that, then the reconnection back into the sidewalk grade creates ADA accessibility issues. So working within the project limits to do this. And so we've really worked hard with the railroad, ODOT Rail, ODOT staff, the project team and city staff to make this the least impactful, but meet the requirements of the ADA.
Commissioner Smith?
All right, so one of the things I would have liked to see, I've got a pretty good understanding of this now, looking at it, but for those of us sitting up here that are still trying to figure this out, if you are, I don't know. These two documents that we have tonight are past proposals for that site that are both dead proposals, essentially. So when I'm talking about those proposals, I'm just referring to each one. But the reason that I think staff gave us these, right, is so that we could see even the two proposals we have had in the past for that lot. They're virtually consistent in where the building's going to be, where a future parking lot would be for whatever's built there in the future. The problem is the map that we have in the packet, I want to see completely overlap those two maps of the past proposals, because to see exactly how that would affect future proposals, which we know are already dealing with a site that's, very, very hard to plan within. So based on my visual proportions and trying to figure this out, what does it really impact in future proposals that might be on that site? Well, probably a couple parking spaces in a parking lot. And for a proposal that would come in the future, like the green box one, it would take part of a future building away on the first and the second floor, because you would possibly have, because that proposal goes almost right to that edge. So, and I think that parking was covered. In the Eckworth proposal, that parking was open, so it would probably just affect parking. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying, in order to understand how big that piece is, how much does that affect future parking? In my sketch here, kind of looking at the proportions, I'm guessing it would take away 2 or 3 parking spots out of a parking lot that's planned for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. So that would be an impact. And then, if the footprint of the building of a future proposal matches something close to the green box one, it would affect that too, I assume, because the pilings for that building or the pillars for that building would be in that section too, unless I guess if the parking lot was covered and there was a second floor above it. So I think that's the only thing we got to think about, and it's a lot that we've already had issues trying to plan around. So any impact to it more, it just adds to that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that's what you need to kind of look at.
So I think what you meant to say was you wanted to see something that was an overlay.
Well, I would like to see it over, because I'm trying to draw exactly how big that shape is on those previous plans, just to get an idea of what that really affects. And visually, it's hard for me to see that from that. I have a pretty good estimate, I think, of what it would affect, but I don't know that for sure. So,
Mr. Chair, so I understand what Commissioner Smith is, excuse me, what he is saying. I think that you make a good point, but I believe that in the last few times that we have talked to people from the development community, they were very aware that in order to make this project work, we need the quiet zone.
absolutely, I agree with that too.
So I think
Right.
that what we are at, what staff is asking us for may have bearing on the layout, but I think, again, it's the chicken and the egg thing. We need to get the
absolutely
quiet zone taken care of so that somebody will feel like they have an ability to redevelop that property
I agree with that.
with residential. And I think that it could be designed around. I don't think it's that much property. When I
Yeah.
was over there earlier in the week, I parked in our lot there and I walked up kind of over there and said, okay, I can kind of visualize where this might be on the property. And then I happened to be in Canby a few weeks ago, and they have a quiet zone, and I looked at their rail crossing just to see, it's not quite the same, but I mean, the same type of equipment that's there. That's what I was looking at, was the equipment and the arms that come across and how much space they needed. And it's wide, but theirs is pretty flat. So I'm okay with the dedication, because again, I think that it will give us a better ability to attract someone to redevelop this site. And I believe it can be, if they put the parking on the backside and not take up the entire lot, I think that will alleviate any issues regarding the 399 square feet that we need.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Okay, you mentioned donating the land. The map says permanent easement. So are we talking about an easement, or are we talking about dedicating the land over to the state and then it comes back to us?
Yeah, it is just an easement. So it would be a permanent easement to the state, and then they would transfer that easement to the city. The temporary construction easement would run kind of along the sidewalk on 10th Street and kind of
Right.
provide the space for constructing that permanent sidewalk.
Okay, so it's
So-
an easement.
It is.
Okay.
It still would be considered a donation of the easement in exchange for no dollars.
Okay. Reason I ask, does that easement, as opposed to it actually donating the property, does that have any impact and setbacks is what I'm getting to? So are we talking about 400 square feet, and then anybody that builds is going to have a setback in addition?
We typically take setbacks from the property line. So, but then you would have an underlying easement that's probably going to restrict, obviously couldn't build over the easement.
Okay, but you would calculate the easement from the property line and not from the inside of the easement.
It's correct. And then just remember, mixed use downtown, you're at zero.
Oh, true.
lot
Is
lines.
that on side and back also?
I can check real quick if mixed use downtown,
I know-
I'm pretty sure, because you could go zero lot line.
Yeah, no, front it is. Not sure.
The corner might have some issue, but it is a four stop, so it's not
So-
usually site distance would be an issue where you got a stop sign like that.
But really my concern of having to have an additional setback up against that easement, that wouldn't happen. It would go from the property line, whatever it is.
Right, so imagine some of the subdivisions we do where we've got the BPA power lines going through it, right? So you've got a 2-acre lot with a big BPA easement going through it, and you could build right up to the easement line. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Great, thank you. That's what I was hoping for.
I will say I appreciate Commissioner Smith's point about the parking, and I share similar concerns. At the same time, recognizing that we're operating under a different regulatory
Right.
scheme for parking
Right.
because of the climate-friendly and equitable communities. I guess since this is our property, we can have more of a say in what we would like to see, but I'm not sure what that would look like if we were to try and require a developer to propose parking, and if that would conflict with the state rules. That would be something to get answered. But Commissioner Arnone.
I'm sorry, real quick, our community development director just shot me. In the mixed use downtown zone, minimum required setbacks, if not abutting a residential zone, are 0.
Great.
We have flexibility.
I was wondering if you can speak to the pedestrian access. It looks like one going up the hill from Main, it's just straight up sidewalk, but going across the street to what is now the Dutch Brothers, is the expectation that they could walk all the way down to Main and then cross the street there? And we're not putting any pedestrian crossing at the railroad, kind of in front of the railroad track?
Correct. So today, there is sidewalk on both sides of 10th Street from Main to the railroad crossing. It stops a little short on the Dutch Bros side, I think, at their driveway, but there would still maintain sidewalk on both sides. There just is not a crossing adjacent to the tracks. We would encourage pedestrians to use the Main and 10th intersection to cross.
And this easement, would it potentially bar us from putting something like a crossing in front of?
I don't think you'll get the railroad to approve a pedestrian crossing.
Okay, because we do want it set back away from the railroad for safety. Okay, makes sense.
Commissioner Smith.
All right, so everyone's points I agree with. The only other thing I would say is that's true for the parking, but the driveway, I want to also make sure, the driveway for all the past proposals are pretty much consistent, and I don't know if that is, part of that was based on the amount of distance that driveway needed to be from Main Street. So if we take, a certain amount of footage off the back, does that push that driveway into a part that is concerning for even entering any parking that's in the back? And from the visuals here, I mean, I think that driveway would fit in between that permanent easement and what is the line that goes across the two different parcels, or there's a middle line there. I don't know that it's two separate parcels, but because I thought we put it all together, but there's that line in the middle. It looks to me like the driveway would fit within that place. So this doesn't affect moving the driveway one way or another that concludes us from putting a driveway in there, or a developer putting a driveway in there in the future.
I don't believe.
We really need to know the answer to that
I
question.
don't believe it would. I mean,
Well, an overlay would show me that. That's why I want to see it, but I think it would fit right there.
Where we would allow it.
What?
I said, I'm not sure where we would allow, excuse me, where we would allow the driveway to be.
We would allow it where it's always been for all these proposals. So what
Well,
I'm saying is,
Since none of these were approved, I would say that the city probably would have a say in, is it still appropriate to be there, or should it be further?
no, we've
West.
already decided that that's pretty much the city of past proposals and being on this, there's been many proposals for this piece of property, and they've all narrowed it down to the driveway is pretty much exactly there. So I'm just saying, is there still room in there? And an overlay would show me that.
That would be a question for Public Works when some development proposal comes in.
I'm seeing according to the drawing, there's 12 feet of sidewalk and then the driveway is 23 feet. The length of the
From that
entire
side.
block, the length of the entire block is 1,600 feet. I mean,
So that's the driveway would still be in that space.
yeah, I think it would still be above that line.
That's what it looks like, but I can't, a visual would really help.
Other questions or comments? Deliberation about what we want to do.
I'm going to kind of follow up a bit on what Commissioner Smith said, because there would be a minimum distance, or is there, per code, a minimum distance from Main Street
Yeah, that's why we,
back to the driveway.
I don't know if it is, but that's one of the discussions we had because of the discussion was not only that, but about the fact that we put those dividers down to prevent people from turning and all of that. And all of that and the past proposals kind of defined that this is pretty much the place that the driveway would almost have to be. Because there was no ability to put a driveway onto Main Street. And there was no
Right.
ability to put a driveway from Main Street to where it is now. So that's pretty much it.
So the concern that you're pointing out, and it's a good one.
That it still
is
fits in
if-
there.
If you have to shove the driveway
One way.
over to get out of the way
is
the
there
way of this
still-
easement.
that's
is there-
exactly my
You
point.
still have the clearance to get to,
Right.
Well, and with the
Before you get to
barriers
Main
there, they would have to go up the hill.
They
and
would
Yeah,
have to.
it's-
We knew that.
That's-
No, we knew
yeah,
that.
and
That's been part of the concept the whole time. They'd have to go all the way up the hill and come back down.
it's
that
always,
was one of the awkward things about that
Yep.
site.
it's always been, yeah, right in,
That's
right out all
All
night.
stuff.
I'm sorry, I
It's,
gotta be quiet, I can't hear. Thank you.
it's always been right in, right out.
Yep.
Of the property. You're correct. We weren't gonna, there was no way to put a driveway on Main Street, so the driveway's always been on 10th. When you look at the drawing, really what's dictating, I think, the driveway location is that some of these drawings were drawn to our code where you have, a buffer planter strip, then you've got head-in parking stalls. So our parking stalls are typically 20 feet deep, curb to back of the parking stall. So there you're probably anywhere from 23 to 26 feet property line back, right? By the time you put in a landscaped edge, 20-foot parking, and then you get into that drive aisle. We can certainly lay it out. We're probably talking a couple of feet here, difference between what we're seeing in the drawing and what's, I don't know the exact distance along 10th from the property line to the edge of the easement. I'm not sure if that's like 18 feet or, we could get that. I just, yes, the driveway's there, but the driveway's there because one, it had to be on 10th. We were trying to get it as far away from the intersection as possible with Main. But then we were also meeting our code for landscaping and parking depth. So, I don't think it's right there because it has to be right at that exact location. I think there's some wiggle room. Back and forth as
I
to
get that
exactly
too.
where it is.
What I just don't want to have to happen is we, give this piece away and then later we have staff come and tell us, because we've had multiple times where this lot has changed because we didn't know stuff and then a year later, oh, well, we didn't know that. I don't want to be here or see this happen in the future where we do this and then, oh, by the way, we can't build any building there with a driveway because we screwed it up. And a visual would help me know that. It's as simple as that.
Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you. So assuming that's true and say, this easement would shift where a driveway goes, and forcing it closer to Main, would we actually be in that position where we say, hey, too bad, you can't put a driveway in? Is there a process to say like, you know what, we can make an exception here where there's a variance we can work with?
I just don't know the code, especially in downtown, because we don't deal with a lot of properties and driveways. I would defer to the city attorney, but I'm assuming we would figure out a way to get a driveway there with some kind of a modification to the code.
That's what I would hope, I would assume. I can't imagine that we would say, hey, you know what, tough, we put it in easement and now nobody can put in a driveway.
Well, if hope is good enough for you, then I guess we're fine. That's my point.
I'm not saying we move forward on hope. I understand.
It's a future commission, it's future
Sure.
staff, and
Sure.
so I want to be assured that
With
we're
the,
not, killing something by doing that.
Commissioner Mitchell.
with the glacial speed that this project is moving at, would we cause a delay if we
There is no
If we
project.
hold this over till our next meeting so we can see a map to address Commissioner Smith's concern? Because I agree with him. We don't want to paint ourselves in a corner.
We could bring back, I can try and get these layouts and we can look at where driveways would go based on code. There's probably time in the schedule. I am scheduled to bring back at the February 18th City Commission meeting an update on the project kind of as a whole, both schedule, scope, and the budget. But we could come back to the Urban Renewal Commission with visual.
I offer that we move discussion to whether or not we would be willing to donate said property or easement, and then table all discussion until the next meeting when we get clarification from the city.
Yeah, thoughts? Commissioner McBride.
Before I would even consider seconding that, again, we have a chicken and the egg situation here. We donate the easement, we will get it back We own the property. We are basically going to be in control of any future development that will be there. And if we need to modify our driveway widths to accommodate a new development, we can do that, and we probably will do that. My concern is, even though Commissioner Mitchell has stated about the glacial speed, I understand that, I would like to have us keep this moving. Again, people are not going to be interested in developing this property until we move the quiet zone down the road and get it in place. That will enhance any future development project for that site. And I think we're quibbling probably a little bit. I get where you're coming from, Commissioner Smith. I totally do. But again, since we are in control of the whole situation, by the time we would get to a development project, I don't see that that's going to be a problem. I think that there may be other ways besides, I don't want to tie my wagon to that proposal or the other Willamette Stone proposal that coulda, woulda, shoulda. Because I think somebody's going to come in my opinion, with an improved design for this site that will work with the quiet zone. But we have to have that first before we can get to the other part.
And those new proposals are going to have the driveway in the same exact place.
We don't know that.
Well, we don't know the other way. I'll just leave it at this, because my point is this. These are questions that staff should have brought with us, and a simple visual would have solved this. We could have passed it tonight. I don't want to delay the quiet zone, because it was one of my goals when I was on the commission, and then a past commission stopped it all, and there's nothing I want to see more than this quiet zone thing going forward. But me asking these questions, I think, are pretty basic questions that could have been really easily solved by laying this map out in a better way. That's all I'm saying. So at this point, I can't support it, because it could have been solved really quickly by knowing that the answers to those questions and just figuring out.
Dana, for the update that you just talked about for the city commission meeting, is that purely informational, or is there anything that you're expecting the city commission to approve for you?
It's generally informational. It will include an update on the budget and how we will fund the project.
Okay.
Well, I would like to move that we authorize the Urban Renewal Executive Director to execute a donation agreement and release ODOT from providing a valuation report and provide a sketch as per requested by Commissioner Smith without delaying this.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll. Oh, never
sorry.
mind.
So the motion is saying we're going to donate the property, but.
Then the
Okay.
sketch is not needed.
Pardon?
Then the sketch is not needed.
I said
Well,
subject to.
it said subject to her, I believe.
sketch.
Oh, after we see it?
Can you explain the intent of?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the intent of the motion is to keep the project moving, but allow for you and the rest of the commission to see a possible layout. Again, as I said before, I'm not tying my wagon to these sketches because those are done. Those didn't go through. I think that the driveway probably will shift just slightly west to accommodate this. And again, as I said, we are in control. We would be in control of the requirements. We'd be in control of the driveway apron. We are in control of the property. So I think anything that a future development might need to make a driveway work there, we are going to make it happen.
And
Commissioner
just to
Arundel.
confirm, are you talking about donation of the whole property or just the easement?
Please.
Okay, you said property. Wanted to clarify.
Sorry, I meant the 399 square feet.
Is there any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Commissioner Denise McGriff,
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
No.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori Arinello,
Aye.
Chair Mike Adam Marl.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Is that like a new name?
Sorry.
All right, thank you, Dana. Communications, Tony?
Thank you. So just a couple of quick updates. So I did put on the dais, last time we met, we were talking about, what do we do next after Stimson? And it was, we have the 10th and Main property that we've just been talking about. We have 12th and Main, and we were going to go back. We were asked to kind of go back and try and find some drawings that had been submitted over time. So we were able to find drawings for the 10th and Main property, one from 2016, one from 2018. We're not finding specifics on 12th and Main. There's some, just not seeing pictures like we have for this, for 12th and Main.
We
Yeah,
did
we had
have,
some, yeah, for
yeah, we
sure.
did have a picture. It was a 3-story building with parking underneath. It was the one where the guy wanted to put in the
The
mattress
mattress.
store.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Some reason we're just
Although I
struggling.
think we had
finding-
another one after that.
yeah.
That was just the apartments and.
Yeah. And he had some.
There's at least two I remember.
Retail on the ground floor and some stuff up above. Yeah.
So really, I was just handing this out tonight just because we were finding this stuff. Just
Yep.
wanted to give it to you so you can take it with you, have a look at it. Some of the ideas that had been generated historically on that property. This was just informational in nature and just to give you an update that we're still trying to find some stuff around 12th and Main. For some reason, it's just not popping when we do the search on that one.
So this was what, 2016?
16, correct, and the
Yeah.
other one was 2018, I believe, off the top
Yeah,
of my head.
this one definitely does, it bears no resemblance to trying to match in with the historic nature of downtown. I definitely don't remember this one, but
Okay.
I remember the one that came after that.
I do too. I remember that one, yes, but I don't remember this one.
We've had some discussions about the 2 houses that are owned by the Urban Renewal Agency. We have been negotiating with the tenants for both of those properties, and we've come to agreement where we would reimburse them their security deposit plus 4 months rent for them to leave the properties by April 1st. And so then that would allow us the opportunity then to move forward with whatever decision we end up making as the Urban Renewal Commission directs us to do related to what to do with those properties, any type of improvement. We've had our facilities department go through the homes as well, and so we're trying to put together what we believe would be some additional information that you requested concerning, what are the improvements, what would we recommend at a minimum to sell them, and then bring that to the commission for discussion. So I just want to make you aware that we are, unless I hear otherwise tonight, we're moving forward with entering into agreements to move the tenants per this essentially agreement for additional, their security deposit, plus some additional funding to help with that transition that they're gonna make.
Any comments?
Just have a
Not on
question.
that, but I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
We're past the closing date on the RFPs for the Stimson property?
Correct.
Do we know what the response was?
We received one response. We'll be bringing back to the Urban Renewal Commission in executive session on the 18th to have a discussion and about the proposal.
Okay, thank you.
That's our plan right now.
Okay.
Great. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. On our 2 residential properties, was it better or worse than was anticipated? I know you mentioned staff did go through and make a few minor improvements that were something that could be done quickly, like we had talked about, changing smoke detectors, all that
They
kind of
did, they
stuff.
did the smoke detectors, CO2. They inspected not only these 2, but the other 3 that the city owns. They're in not ideal condition. So am I surprised? No, I think it's consistent with the information that we provided you based on the walkthrough that was done before.
And I guess my other concern that we had talked about before was, had we improved, I guess, why didn't we get notification about some of these things from our property manager? I guess my level of expectation from the property manager was a lot more than what we were told. I mean, what were we paying all that money for if they were not doing their job, so to speak?
Well, I mean, this is also being notified. When we were notified, when the property management company was notified of issues, they were brought forward and addressed. Now and moving forward, all properties, whether it's owned by Urban Renewal or the city related to these residential homes, have been added to, essentially, it'll be treated just like this building is. It'll be reviewed by our facilities department on a yearly basis. The management company isn't really looking at the long term of the building. They're addressing the immediate needs of the building. In hindsight, it was our responsibility to have this on some type of a replacement schedule, whether that be, the roof or, I don't think anybody ever intended to hold these properties this long, in terms of investing in updating the electrical, updating the plumbing, right? This was supposed to be purchased and demolished. So lesson learned, we're moving forward. We're addressing this, like I said, on the city side. But we feel those are in better condition than these. We have one home up by the cemetery that's, we bought it and it was not in good condition, but we're maintaining it and there's good communication going on. So, I don't have a good explanation other than we weren't walking through as staff of the property that we owned on a yearly basis and saying we need to set aside funds for this and this and this, and this year we're going to do this one and next year we're going to do that one.
Yeah, I understand, and I definitely appreciate your staying on task on this. I'm just concerned about the, what I perceived as lack of communication with the property manager. I mean, maybe my expectation of what a property manager is supposed to do is maybe not what their contract says, but my assumption is that besides helping us with getting the tenants and collecting the rent, that, if there is some concern by a tenant, that it is brought to our attention. And I'm hoping that we haven't communicated to them that we expect better communication. And if something happens, please, we need to know about it. Because, frankly, for me, it was embarrassing to have the woman come here and say, I called, I did this, I did this, I did this. And, again, we only heard one side of it because we didn't hear the property manager's side, but that's your job. That's not our job. But it just, it led me to question whether we were getting the value of retaining a company to do property management when we were not. Perception was that we were not having good communication. Let me just say it that way. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but, I wanted to see what this person said this, what happened over here.
Go ahead.
With our intent for the cash for keys and the tenants moving out in April, typically there's a 90-day period to notify management of termination of services if we wish to sell. Do we want to perhaps make a motion to start that process?
I'm sorry, can you explain that? 90 days?
Yeah, so typically with management agreements, there's a 90-day notice requirement to terminate a property management agreement with the management company.
To terminate our agreement with the property manager.
Correct.
Okay.
So we've worked on the tenants, that's being done. It might be prudent for us to signal notification and start that process with the management team. We could keep them on and maintain the property in lieu of that, but it sounds like staff's already kind of done inspections with the properties vacated. We can move to sell.
Is that not inherent in what's already been planned?
I'm not familiar with the contract, so I'd have to go back and look and see. If the commission would like us to start that process, we're happy to do that.
Okay.
I think you should look at it first and then let us know, and then I agree with you, because if we have asked them, we're working on vacating the property, it would, even vacant, our facilities people are going to be monitoring that. So we could get that information sooner than later and then begin. I thought about that too, but I thought, well, we need that information first.
Does the commission need that information, or would you just like me to begin the process?
You just tell us.
I just figured that it was going to be inherent in the process of liquidating.
Yeah.
It's a question I don't have an answer to in front of me right at the moment. I can find the answer and come back, or we can just move forward with terminating the agreement consistent
Why
with
don't
what
you
we
just
need.
send us the information without having to come back?
I'll make a motion that staff terminate the agreement as
Second.
per what the agreement calls for.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question?
Call the roll.
Commissioner Denise McGriff,
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori Arvinello,
Aye.
and Chair Adam Marl.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Any further communications?
That is all that I have tonight.
Commissioners? Seeing no further business, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.